coming out of winter, you might have a really wet and soggy lawn, or maybe you've just always struggled with a really bare and crappy lawn. So in this video, we're gonna talk top dressing and adding the right products to your soil to make improvements. Yes, g'day and welcome to a new video. And if in today's video there is only one thing that you take away from it, it's the sentence and the mantra that soil is everything. Whether you are growing lawn, plants, vegetables, the right soil is absolutely everything. And something over the years that's been one of my absolute most frequently asked questions is, what do you top dress your lawn with? And that question just on its own, it's a hard one because the answer really depends on your current soil. What is currently there depends on what you need to add into it. So let's have a talk about what I've been doing to the soil at this house before we look at some examples of what you can top dress with in what situations. And we'll start on the Prestige Soft Leaf Buffalo lawn. Now, we moved in here October, will be 3 years since we moved in, and this particular area beside the pool here was very wet and very damp. It was an extremely wet spring 3 years ago, and so this was the sort of area that all throughout winter was sloshy and wet, and then even through that spring with lots and lots of rain, if we got showers even through summer, it would just sit there a bit, you know. It wasn't a great area. The back lawn was better as in general, but still not very good. So when I came to excavating this area, I took out 30 cubic meters of really heavy, dense, nutrient-rich soil, but very heavy in terms of lacking drainage. Then when I brought new soil back in, I brought in 30 cubic meters, plus from memory, inside that fire pit area of crushed rock, and then the fines on top of it, the crushed fines on top, was about 3.5 cube. So the total volume of this 160, I think it is, 160 square meters, I basically increased the total volume by about 10%. So there is actually now a slight slope up in this area, and against the fence line there, the level of it is a bit higher. And so I've taken out that really dense and rich soil and replaced it with sandy loam. Sandy loam is fantastic for especially a nice native garden. It's a lot more free draining, and sandy loam in general is perfect for lawn. And so my issues with sogginess here are gone. Obviously raising the level in here helps a lot, but by getting better free draining soil, it's helped the gardens. The gardens honestly thriving. I've had one plant out of 70 die in here. A lot of them are looking fantastic. The lawn's going really well. We haven't had we've had frequent rain, but not big rain this winter. But either way, no issues with sogginess on this buffalo lawn at all. Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, we did sort of cover this a little bit recently. We're going more in depth today. Now over here on my back lawn, this too, our first winter in the house, it was very wet and very soggy out here, and so there was some particular areas that mowing when there had been rain was really, really difficult. And so something that I did, and I have done with my renovations out here, is top dress with some sand. Now, this plug here came out of the garden bed, and this is reflective of my native soil. Look at that clay. That is, yep, solid. And then this coming out of the lawn area, see the sand content in there? That is much more free draining, nice material. And so on heavy clay, the water just really struggles to penetrate through, and that's where you get that really, dense soil and water struggling to penetrate through it. Whereas what I've done now with the actual lawn, that came from the garden bed, what I've done with the lawn is top dressed it, I think 4 times with sand. I've aerated. So that's something as well, if you want to improve your soil, aerating to pull out some of that material and then fill back into those aeration holes, whatever material you're going for. We'll talk about a few of them soon. But now this is my 3rd winter out here, and absolutely no worries mowing the day of rain, the day after rain, no problems, and I've really improved the soil out here. I'm really happy with it. I said recently I probably won't do a full reno, I might, but any top dressing that I ever do on here, 470 square meters, so previous top dressers I've been using about a cube per 100 squares. Any future ones, probably be using something like 3. So somewhere around the vicinity of half a cubic meter per 100, because yeah, I've leveled out a lot of my low spot and I've really improved the soil profile. Now time for a trim out here. Really keen to see how much growth there's been in the last week on this lawn. And then we'll get a few examples of different types of material you can top dress with to hopefully give you an idea and a plan of attack for what you can use at your place. The stripes are not looking too bad out here. We did actually get another frost. September the 6th, we had hopefully the last frost of the season out here. So I'm really looking forward to just being able to get a consistent lot of nice weather. And next week ahead is looking pretty crap. But yeah, I'm gonna get some fertilizer on here today. In terms of clippings and also this area, heaps of shade from the veggie garden and stuff. This just shows you what happens with shade. Yeah, plenty of yellow tips there, but in here in the catcher, that is not a lot of clippings, is it, for a week? It's not too bad. It's definitely starting to kick in, starting to show signs, but we're a decent way off a reno here. Got my weeds dying out, got some frosted tips on here, but yeah, it's only upwards from here as the weather continues to improve. Onto our top dressing materials. Let me get organised and we'll have a chat about that. Now you can get heaps of different materials with different names and things like that at landscape supply places. What I've got here is 3 super common ones that you'll be looking at. The first one is what I've used mostly here at my place, which is this nice washed sand. It's a really good mixture of coarse and fine particles. Now, if you have got a heavy soil, you've got pretty good growth in your lawn, but it is quite heavy. You've got a bit of a clay base deep down underneath and it's pretty soggy and that kind of thing. You want to level out low spots. Washed sand is fantastic. Now, if you are watching this from WA, or you've just got a really infertile, bare, struggling, you can just tell looking at soil, it's dry, it's cracked, it's wet and soggy and muddy, whatever it may be at different stages of the year, it's just crap soil. In that case, something like compost, this has come out of my veggie garden and I've even got a little worm in here. But something like a compost that is really nutrient rich, nice and dense, gonna do a great job of holding on to water, holding on to nutrients. Yeah, sandy soils, crappy soils. That is just called veggie mix, which is something that a lot of places have. You know, designed to go straight into your veggie garden. That could be a great thing to top dress your lawn with. Because it's an organic product, it is going to decompose and break down quickly, and so it won't do as good of a job of leveling, but it still will help with your leveling. And ultimately, fertility to help grow nice grass is one of the biggest keys in what we're talking about today. And then the next thing I've got here is a nice sandy loam. And this here is what I've used in my gardens and my lawn over in that buffalo section. It's what I used out in the front yard, and it is mostly sand, but also soil. You can see it's a lot more crumbly. It is quite wet. It was under some mulch and stuff down in that garden bed there, but this is gonna hold onto some nutrients. It's nice and free draining. Ultimately, really good for lawns and gardens. Now, ultimately with these 3 options, if you are in doubt, I would get a sandy loam because you are gonna be getting some soil in there. As a general rule, topsoil you might find is quite cheap some of the time, but I would recommend something that's a bit of a higher quality. It's probably going to be washed of weed seeds and that sort of thing. Something like a lawn mix or a turf sand or something along those lines. A 70-30, 80-20. If you're not sure, I wouldn't get a pure wash sand. I'd be looking at something more like a sandy loam. My plans for this season, if anything on this back lawn, will just be continue to use a little bit of wash sand because I've already used plenty and made big improvements. On this buffalo section will be to, because it was a naturally heavy area in the past and I'm really happy with the soil that I've put in there, it will be to improve my leveling with sand as well and continue to make it nice and free draining with washed sand. And then in my front yard, my iron cutter front yard, my underlay is that lawn mix sandy loam, and so that is what I'll continue to top dress with because I know that even down 100, 150 mil, the stuff that was under there was pretty crappy stuff. So I'd feel more comfy not going straight to wash sand, even though when I want to cut it nice and low, that's what I'll be using eventually. But to start with, first couple of top dressers, sandy loam is the go. And final one to finish on, if you are top dressing your lawn, as I mentioned earlier, around about 1 cubic meter per 100 square meters is a pretty good place to start if your lawn is quite bumpy. But if it's not crazy bumpy, like, yeah, 1 cube per 100 is a pretty heavy top dress. So that's around about the amount of volume you want to go for. But either way, hopefully this has given you a bit of an idea of, yeah, where to go with your top dressing. You may find that you just want to hit reset, because still with top dressing with the compost, that can be a bit of a battle. Maybe you do want to come in like I've done on my front lawn in that Buffalo, and you just want to dig it out, start from the start with a nice sandy loam, lay some turf, put down some seed, whatever it may be. And sometimes just hitting reset right from the start is a good way to go. But if you can work with what's there, and it's just a little bit soggy, it's not completely horrendous like some of my areas were, you can just work on improving it with aeration, top dressing. But yeah, anyway, I think that will probably do it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Hope it was helpful. We ticked over 10K subscribers as well during the week. So yeah, appreciate you guys who have hit subscribe and support the channel and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that'll do it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.